Yo, come on in. Hey, I'm just back from climbing Mount Monadnock, the most climbed mountain in America. You ever notice that, when you're going to take a walk on the beach or you're going to hike in the woods, what do you want to take with you? You'd like to have a libation. So when you got to the peak, you could have a toast. Or you could sip it as you walked along the beach and get mellow out. What you need. So what do? You're gonna take a bottle of rum with you in your backpack? No, you can't do that. What are you gonna do? You're gonna take a flask. Now, this is a pretty standard flask. Flasks are great for traveling. They usually have a top, as you can see. Doesn't come off. You can't lose it. You're all set. This is a standard man's flask. Flasks have been around mostly from the 18th century in this form, and they were mostly used by the gentry in England and the United States. They were made of pewter or silver or glass. Now they're made of plastic, so you can get through a metal detector, but that's another story. Before that, there was pig's bladders, wine skins. You must have read Hemingway. Everybody drank from different kind of things. Now you have a flask. This shape is called a kidney flask because it's designed to fit in a man's trousers and not be noticed. It fits around the knee and around the leg. Now, of course, women have their own flasks, more delicate, perhaps, a little bit of stuff to put in, What do you put in a flask? It's certainly way, way up to you. There's nothing really important about that. Women's flasks were frequently, in the old days, held under a garter, under a woman's petticoat. It was a good way to get alcohol into places where you don't really expect to have it. Flasks, there's certain places like, if you want to take a drink to go, now if you're in New Orleans, of course, you can walk out of any bar in New Orleans and they'll give you a to-go cup and you put your stuff in there and you walk down the street and it's perfectly legal and everything's legal in New Orleans. And, there's dry towns on the Jersey Shore where a flask might come in handy. So it's always good to have a flask. Now, if you're really genteel, you might need to have a cup to drink it out of because you don't want to drink out of the flask. You know how it goes. And there you go. There's a nice collapsible drink. Goes anywhere with you. Clips on your belt. If you want to make believe you're camping, you're not going to go. Now, that's kind of a quick, down and dirty lesson on flasks. As I said before, whatever you put in them, bourbon, rye, vodka, gin, strega, anything that really keeps you going, and you want to have just a little taste of in some place where it's inconvenient to bring 6-packs and bottles of booze. Can't do that now. My kids thought this was very funny, but they brought me this flask, which is kind of adequate for the job, I think. It's a little small for a long walk on the beach or anything, but it's, I think it does the job. It's got the same kind of screw-on cap. You can fill this. In fact, with this, you can mix things together. I mean, this would be a hell of a martini pitcher. Or dark and stormy, fill the whole thing up. You'd be all set. So, flasks, wineskins, pig's bladders. I think the flask has a place in our culture. We need it. It's good. Don't overdo it. It's very handy to take with you. like a rugby game. More portable than most. And it's designed especially for you. Okay. Flask. Go to it.